Hi, this is Mark from Eurocarts, and we're just going to have a very quick look at some of the wiring for the single cog e-bike kit. So I'll say that again, single cog e-bike kit. Now we do have the geared kits as well, which is very slightly different. You need to do a little bit more sort of cutting on those, but all the wiring diagrams, if you do have an e-bike kit, on the website, which is www.eurocarts.com. So firstly, this thing we've got here is just what we use instead of the battery. So we actually plug it into the mains, but it is the 24 volt and it gives the 10 amps. Now the 10 amps is important. If you don't have 10 amps, it won't power the motor. Now when you're wiring batteries, if you're doing two 12 volt batteries to give the 24 volts, if you do it in series, the amperage won't change. So if you've got 3 amp batteries, it's not going to be enough. You need to have a minimum 10 amp battery to get this working. So make sure it's 10 amps. The other problem is if you have too many amps, then the control box has a safety circuit in which will close it down. And I think it's about 19, 20 amps that it will shut off at. So anything between 10, 15 amps is what you're looking for. So you'd be doing two 12 volt batteries to get your 24 volts, and each one of those 12 volt batteries must be minimum of 10 amps to work. If we look at the controls, we've got going to the battery on the red and black cable. This goes straight to positive and negative on your battery. You mustn't reverse it here. If you want the motor running the other direction, then you do it actually at the motor terminal, which is the other red and black here coming out of the blue and white, thick blue and white of the control box. This is where you'd reverse if you wanted the motor to run the other way. If you tried to do it at the battery terminal, so you did it go into your battery, then it would just damage the control box. You also need the throttle pushing in. Now on the single bike kit, it just clicks straight in. It's really simple. But because we've upgraded the throttle, or the thumb throttle, on the geared kit, then it's a different technology, so it does mean more wiring, and I'm afraid it is sort of cut these three wires and join them together, and then you'll also have to join the ignition in separately because it has a separate ignition on some of the geared bike kits. When it's all up and running, let's just start that off. A couple of common problems. A lot of people forget to turn the ignition on. Make sure that's on. And the other most common one is a battery problem. So you wouldn't have the correct amperage going into your battery. Once everything's on, if you turn it slightly, then you'll see the motor kicks in. That's with just turning the throttle. I'll not do it too fast, otherwise it'll spin around on the table. And they're the main three components to get it going. The important things to remember, if you're going to switch the direction of the motor, then you do it from the motor. Battery must always be positive, negative, going to positive, negative, leading into the control box. Make sure you have your wiring right on whichever you're using. All the wiring diagrams are on the website, and make sure ignition is switched on. If you've got the correct battery, then everything should work great. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Any questions, we're always here to help. And I think that's about it. Thank you and goodbye.